Show you a little of how to use Canva. It's a free resource and it's great for just making simple posts, ads, videos, a whole bunch of different types of creative work. First of all, you're going to need to go to canva.com, canva.com. Now, I have an account, but if you haven't signed up already, you can just easily click on sign up. You can sign in a number of ways, but even if you just want to use, say for example, university email, pop that in there. There's not much to pop in, and then you'll just have to verify that via the email, and then you'll be let in. I'm just going to continue with the one that I have already. So once you're onto the home screen, what you'll notice is a whole bunch of different templates for different things like Facebook covers, if you had to do a Facebook page, flyers, invitations, stories. It's got Facebook posts as well, videos. Now this is really great because it's already in the dimensions that you need for a lot of those. And there's a whole bunch of them there, so that's easy to sort of start if you needed to. If you can't find something, you can always search for that template as well. You can also go to particular areas that will help you as well, if you wanted to email headers, all those kind of things, so that it's already in some of the correct dimensions. If you don't find the right dimensions or there's something specific that you want to do, you can also customize your size there as well. So yeah, that's the first part. So it's super easy. Let's say, for example, if I want to create a video, which I'll show you because it's got all the aspects that you might want to use. So you can see with the video, it starts off with a play down here, so you can add different things in. Just like any sort of post, you can automatically change the background of what you want. Notice up here, you can actually put in, whenever you've got a color to choose, you can actually put a specific color range in there. So if your team has already decided on the color ranges, or your brand has specific colors, go look up the very specific color number for that, and you can pop that in super easy. So that's going to obviously come up for 5 seconds. You can change how long the timing is for any of that, either this way, or you could just drag and drop that way, depending on how long you want that to be. I'm going to start off with a simple sort of heading to start the video. Need to design your creative as a question headline. Now I find the black on that quite bright color doesn't actually work in terms of contrast. Super easy to also change your color, font, all of those kinds of things, the size. If you want it to be a little bit larger, you can animate it if you want it to have certain animations. You'll notice here some of these have this little crown here. These are only the pro version, so you can't use those necessarily. I'm going to try to be a little more upbeat with this video. I'm going to change even things like my text, my type, which I'll keep relatively consistent throughout. So that's easy enough. One of the great things about Canva is it has a whole bunch of different types of elements. So what you can do is actually search for videos. If you can't find that, just go to more, and it will give you some other sort of elements that you can always look at if you wanted to look at charts, backgrounds. You know, it's got a series of different things that you could potentially do. If I want to put in a video, say for example, I'm going to talk about design principles. So I might start talking about white space. So I've looked up something that's not quite right, but it's looking at space. So I'm going to shorten that. I might again copy this here, and because I want the same font, might put that there. Now, definitely that pops out there, but what I'll notice is that background there, that little video in the back is probably a bit too, there's too much going on with the white stars and things. So I want to darken that a little bit. I can do that. If I click on the specific video, and I can animate. I don't want to detach that. I think that's on the background actually, but I want to change the transparency of that video so I can possibly make that more or less transparent as I like. What you're noticing there is that it's got the background of the red still, and I think what I'll do, because I've got white writing, is actually change the color of that to a darker. So that's what you can do as well if you want to make your contrast even more. There's a couple of other things that you can do here. I'm going to change this. Design Principle 1. White space. And so what I'll do with that, maybe I wanted to pop that out even more with the text. So what I can do is, there's a couple of things I can do as well as animating it. I can actually do different types of effects, like maybe I want some background on it, maybe a dark on white in case there's something in the background. I could do neon, that's a bit too bright. I could decide to lift it. I think lifting it's probably about as much as I need to do. Again, you could sort of have different intensity for that as well. So that's something to consider when you just want to adjust things, if you've got something that's quite complex in the background and you want to make that contrast. There's other things that you can do as well. You can add in things like photos. I have pre-picked this one here. I've just looked in advertising so that I can actually show how that's actually used. So looking at white space on a screen here, I can add particular elements. So I'm going to show white space. So I actually want to maybe put something like a cake in there. So for instance, this one looks kind of cute. Resizing is very easy. It's all really intuitive. If I put that on there, and I want to talk about white space being the things around something, then also if I want to highlight something, I might be able to point at it. I don't want a white arrow, so I could always put in red arrow or something like that. I think I probably want this one here that's already pre-animated as well, to point out the various parts that I want to point out. So I can say this here is white space, and something else that's really good that I can do, I might shorten this, and I can actually duplicate any slides that I want. So if I want to do that, and I want to now change in this slide what I want to do with this. Now the problem with this is it's the wrong way round. What you can do with any object there is actually flip it. So I can flip it horizontally, flip it vertically, so that I can get it to the right orientation that I want. I'd actually make that slightly bigger as well, so that in the end I'm showcasing the white space area. Okay, so that's how you might decide to create the video proportions. So as you can see, I can go back from the start and have a look at how it works. Design Principle 1, white space. And problem with this is I haven't got any audio, so I might want to do some music that goes along with it. So that's easy enough as well. I can look for audio. Maybe I want some happy music. For instance here, and again, a lot of them are pros. If you don't find what you need, you can also upload, but I might want a little happy song to be there, so I'm going to put that in as well for the stretch, and hopefully that comes through. Now I might want to put some overlay on top of that at some point. So if I want to do some voiceovers, which we talked about in class, it's a little more complex here. What you can do is a couple of things. You can actually upload some of the pre-recording on a different device or something like that. If you've got an MP4, that works really well. But another way to do it is actually do it directly in Canva. So the way to do that is a little bit complex, but what you would do is you would click on this share, and if you don't get it, you can go to more. But I've obviously used it before, and you can find the present and record button. And so what that will allow us to do is actually to go into a recording studio. Now here, normally it will automatically come with your FaceTime video camera starting, but I don't want you to see me for this. It's just going to be a voiceover. So I'm going to say goodbye there and say no camera. And so it'll just be my recording. So what I probably want to do is I want to be all ready to go. You can add notes to the design as well in case you want to read off that as things are going, but it will start automatically. So you've got to be ready. So we're going to talk about white space, and it's here where there's nothing there, and also possibly here. And in the end, what that means is that you're giving a lot of focus to the particular element that you want to have people focus on. So I'm going to upload that recording. What that will do is align that. So I'm actually not going to download that. You could download that separately, but I'm just going to save an excerpt. And what it's going to do is actually have that recording up on the side here. So I don't want to delete it. I could just go back to where I am. And what I can do is actually use that recording and pop that in also here. Now I know that it's somewhere around here that I wanted it to be saying, but I might have to think about that specifically, exactly where it is. Popped it down here into this last little part here, and now I've just spent a little bit of time just realigning that. So I've got two audio tracks there. One of the issues you might have is that one is louder than the other. So if I've got this, the music might be overpowering that. So what you can actually do is when you click on this, you can change the volume so that it's not quite so loud, and so that you can hear the spoken word over that as well. You can always cut this up and have it louder at the beginning, so potentially you could do this before the speaking starts. Oops, that's the wrong one, sorry. I might change that to there, and then also add that audio in there so that I can make it louder as well. Oops. Let's look up audio. There we go. Happy. Oops. Already had that happy whistling tune. So that then I can have it potentially louder. Let's get rid of that there. For that section there. And I'll put that on full volume, and then as the speaking starts, I will have it on only part volume. So yeah, so then all you've really got to do is just align up a lot of your elements. So make sure it works.
With the design principle of white space, we're not technically just talking about white space. What we're talking about is space around any particular object that you want people to focus on. So here, and also down here as well, I've left purposefully that extra space there, because what it does is it means that there's nothing surrounding the cake, which is the object I want you to look at, so it makes you focus there.
Okay, so that's the end of my little video. It probably took me about 10 minutes or so at that to do, so it shouldn't take you too long, as long as you know everything that you've got. And then from there you can do things like sharing, which is great. You know, you can copy the link, you can download it as an MP4 or other videos. If you're creating only something short like a GIF, you know, maybe you're actually not creating a full video, but you're doing a post, but you want it to move, you can download that as a GIF, you can download straight as a JPEG, just depending on what it is that you're actually doing as well. It will give you different options based on what you've got there. So yeah, super easy. So when you're when you're creating your work, try to be as creative as possible and use all the features that you can. There's likely much more, and some of you guys might be even more pros than me, so feel free to look around and see what's there.